I look at the Disney years of my life as I really was in middle school and high school, so I look at it as that. And then my college years I spent on Cobra Kai and School Spirits, and now it's like post-college. My family moved to New York and we were on the Staten Island ferry, and a modeling agent from Wilhelmina came up to my twin brother Spencer, and they wanted to sign him. And we were young kids, like 5 years old, probably. And my mom thought it'd be fun. We just moved to the city, be like a fun way to get to know the city. And she had modeled and done like runway. And so she took us in, and they wanted to sign him. And my mom's like, I think my daughter would be interested in doing this. So they signed us both like there. And then we started doing it after school, like auditioning for commercials and modeling in the city. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was definitely a hard balance. Like I would be studying my lines on the playground, or going into auditions after school, or getting pulled out of classes and getting pulled out of school to go shoot a show or something. So it did make me a little other, and I would miss things sometimes. So I think it is harder at that age for people to understand. So it was kind of a weird thing that people sometimes make fun of me for as well.
Here, Dad, let me.
I remember auditioning for 27 Dresses when I was like 8 years old, and I played the younger version of Katherine Heigl, and I was just so excited to be on that set, and they brought me to Rhode Island, and that was really when I remember like the director really took me under her wing and like hung out with me and everyone in the crew and on set. Like just, it was fun being a kid on set because everyone just wanted to teach me about their job and hang out.
I'll show you a moon.
I guess when I was a teenager, or maybe even 12 years old, coming out on a Disney show, I just feel like that was really when I felt the shift of people knowing who I am and stopping me. It was slow at first, and then all of a sudden I realized just how big Disney is, because it was just every kid my age. I suddenly felt like they knew who I was.
Emma Ross!
When the show kept getting picked up and people were watching, and that just bonded us so much. Like having this show that we're all part of and playing family on that. Yeah, I definitely leaned on them so much. I mean, it was just us in school together. And so we were just like running around Hollywood Center Studios. And I think a lot of us moved to LA, like me and Sky moved to LA from New York. So I think not knowing a lot of people in a new city really brought us together.
Jeez. I was just trying to have some fun.
Looking back on it now, I'm like, that was the most fun experience of my life. Like, I think just being at that age, being 12 years old, getting a Disney show was one of the craziest experiences. I met all kinds of different people because of it. I think going to the White House was one of the craziest ones. Our studio teacher, Cheryl, after Michelle Obama, the first lady, after she guest starred on Jessie, Cheryl was talking to the chief of staff, and she told the chief of staff that we really would love to go on a school field trip to the White House. And we were the most normal kids. And so we would be fangirling over so many people who were there. We're like, I feel like Cameron's like, Beyonce's here? Like, we have to go meet her. And we were just huge fans. And yeah, we were fans ourselves. So when people were fans of us, I think that was a funny thing to comprehend, because we all just felt so normal.
Apology accepted.
Cameron's mom and dad, Victor and Libby Boyce, and his sister Maya, they all run the Cameron Boyce Foundation. And so they raise money every year for finding a cure for epilepsy. And they've really just done a lot of work to really like keep the foundation alive and keep his memory alive. And yeah, so I just try to go every year and raise as much money as possible. And yeah, just talk about him whenever I can. And yeah, he was such a great person. He was one of my best friends, and he was like a brother to me growing up. So every time something big happens, I want to call him. I didn't expect to cry because I talk about him so much that I don't expect to cry anymore. But yeah, it hits at different times. so we wrapped up Jessie, and then me, Karn, and Sky signed on for a spin-off show for Bunked.
Stamps, postcards, the last shreds of my self-respect.
And I made sure to sign on for only the amount of episodes that I ended up doing. And I was like, it's not enough, I wanna do more. And my parents told me, well, you're gonna be a certain age and you're probably gonna wanna, maybe pursue college or move on to other projects. You're young now, like, why don't you just make the decision now to sign, because you're signing a contract, and then once it's done, kind of reevaluate. And so, yeah, as it was finishing up, I think it felt natural to move on to other projects because it had been, 7 years of working with them, which is longer than most Disney stars or Disney shows ever really run. So I think I was really grateful for the time, but they were right. It was time for me to move on and explore other characters and other stories.
You guys can put on a show. Can you actually fight?
That sounds like a challenge.
I like a challenge.
I didn't feel ready for that role of Tori, but she's just such a presence. She's always ready to fight someone, and I feel like she's so different from me, but there are parts of myself that I found through playing her.
I'll take the little girl. You two get the big guy.
It taught me so much. I mean, working on the world tournament, the Sekai Taikai for the final season, we had all of the best fighters, best stunt doubles, best stunt choreographers coming in to work on it. And so working against them and like, people would be like, just intimidate me, fight me. And I knew that they could take me down. And so just having to work with them every day and and drill that, we had a third generation black belt, Sensei Tony. So I think working with him, and he really instilled a lot of confidence in me because he's like, you're great, you got this. And just hearing that from him, and he would always tell these long stories while we were stretching at the end of our training, and I would never know where he was going at the beginning, but it kind of felt like a Mr. Miyagi, like it always wrapped up to where it was some huge, profound, beautiful story. And it was always something so simple. And I really love the respect aspects of karate and coming in and coming onto the mat and having to bow to each other every day. And I think there's just so much respect in like the stunt world as well. And that really instilled a lot of confidence. Like they can take me down, but they are the nicest people in the world.
All right, champ versus champ.
Whoever wins gets the park.
Deal. But you won't win.
Jacob is the best person. He's like such an authentic, genuine soul. And I trust him so much. Like I go to him whenever I need advice. We love traveling. He's really into backpacking and camping. So he's really, that was a dream of mine growing up in Brooklyn. My parents were like, we don't know how to camp. We like food and we don't want you doing this. This is unsafe. And so Jacob has really shown me the ropes and he's taught me how to be more of a minimalist because I definitely travel really heavy. He's like, no, does this really need to be in the bag? Because you're gonna be carrying this for miles and miles. So he's been a good influence on my life. And I think I've been a good influence on his. While we were filming Cobra Kai, we went on the Appalachian Trail. And everyone made the mistake of warning me. They're like, oh, have you seen the TikToks around the Appalachian Trail? And so I looked it up the night before going. Don't do that. Do not do that. It's terrifying, but I still went anyways. And we met so many cool people on the trail, and it was nothing like what the TikToks said. But I guess we got lucky, so.
Tori chose the other side. But we can't keep letting her get in our heads like this.
It's a really funny balance because we were all reminded constantly that it was almost the end, and we would keep reminding each other, and we were trying to be as present as possible and really appreciative, but then also when it's a really long day and we're doing these huge fight sequences, there was also the side of me that's like, okay, it's the last time. I have to, pretend I'm a martial arts, yeah, it was definitely a balance, but I also got to know Billy Zabka and Ralph so much more because it was the last time. And so I feel like we all were just opening up so much more and just really enjoying the moment. The whole cast of School Spirits really, they all live in New York. Nick, Sarah, Miles, Jess, they're all my best friends now. So I got so lucky that the show introduced me to them. It's funny because there's like the sort of like ghosts and then the living world, and I feel like Sarah Yarkin and Nick Pugliese, like their characters have been dead for so long that there's so much comedy within it, and they're just always making jokes, and like if one of us has a heavy scene, everyone is having fun in the green room, and everyone is just like constantly talking and joking around, and like it's the loudest green room I have ever been in my life. And so sometimes one of us will just be like, I have to remove myself for the day. I have to go because it's too much fun in here, and like I'll immediately be in a good mood, and I'm not in a good mood today, and this is too hard to separate, and so we'll just leave. But we have a lot of fun.
Well, we have a new student with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Madison Nears. But everyone calls me Maddie.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Trinrud and Megan, the siblings who created School Spirits, I really feel like they're like family to me. I trust them with everything. Like before we start the season, we'll have a dinner, and it's so nice having people who run the show who I just feel so safe with. Maria Dizia, who plays my mom on School Spirits, she's so fantastic, and she's a director, and she's just worked so much. But doing a scene with her, if it's an emotional scene and I'm bouncing off of her, it's something about her energy, and I feel it from her so deeply. If I need to cry, I will be bawling my eyes out, and reacting to her is just a masterclass in itself. She's amazing. She's taught me so much. She's like sends me so many like movie and show recommendations, and is just such a genuine person. I admire her so much.
Nothing ever changes here. It all just resets.
I'm not like Maddie. I wish I was as cool as Maddie. Like, yeah, all of the horror references she makes, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go watch this now. But we're very different in that way.
I used to think nothing was scarier than death.
Maddie finally finds out what happened to her.
But now I know it's what comes after death.
And that Janet, a ghost from Group from the 50s, she supposedly moved on. And you sort of believe that throughout the season, and then you realize that while Maddie was in this emotionally low place, Janet ended up inhabiting her body and going out into the world. And that's exactly where season 2 picks up, explaining exactly what happened and how that was even possible. And then it follows a lot of Janet and her journey throughout the second season. So it's definitely taking a much darker tone, and it's much more intense than I was expecting it to be. I just moved to New York just for a few months in between projects, but I feel like I'm really just like stepping into myself, and I feel like I know myself better than I ever have. I just have such good friends and people around me. Like I just feel really solid in my life now. So I just feel like at this stable spot, which is first time in a while, I think.